here with Steve Monahan, here with our college football bowl preview show of the games through around December 24th-ish. So these are not the cream of the crop games, but these are the games that are tough. And, you know, because these are the teams that you just would never think would be playing each other in a bowl game. Especially this year, it's, you know, there was some moving around in the bowls. And, you know, they got to make them all fit. You can't have teams with the losing records in there.
Yeah.
But how's it going, Steve? Ready for some bowl season?
I am. It's just right around the corner. We should have our first game coming up.
No more days. Thursday night NFL action. Just, you know, straight on to the
Saturday. 3 Saturday games.
Yeah, nice slate on Saturday. We got college football bowl games. We got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 college football bowl games, 3 NFL games. And, I mean, if the college basketball, I saw a couple games on there that looked pretty good for Saturday. There were some real big ones, actually. I think they're like Kentucky, Ohio State or something. It might even be like that Butler, Indiana or whatever is going on there.
Right.
But, yeah, we got a lot going on. So,
what's first up? Well, Buffalo, Charlotte?
Yeah, we're going to give everyone just a couple seconds to join us. We did have our YouTube glitch yesterday, so, you know, people still getting back on their feet. We're temporarily...
Was that all on YouTube? Having some internal...
I think what happened was that, to be honest, I think what happened is that the channel has gotten so big so fast that it falls outside of their normal behavior. They don't have, obviously, you know, there's so many YouTube users and so many YouTube channels and so much content that's being produced. It's not like they have a person that goes around and watches every video. Basically, the way that it works is they have these algorithms and they say, this is normal, this is popular, and this is way outside of normal. So normally, like for instance, my old channel, Sports Chat Place, was up for 12 years. I had 8,300 subscribers. Picks and Parlays has been up for 6 years. They have 17,000 subscribers or something. Most of those are pretty recent. We've been up 2 months. We have over 7,000 subscribers. So, you know, Wager Talk, you know, here, I'll just run through some of the more popular sports handicapping ones and tell you how many since existence in the lifetime of these sites, how many subscribers a day they're averaging and how many views. So if we look at Wager Talk, and they're the 800-pound gorilla right now, but we're so close to knocking them off. They average 5,000 views over their lifetime, 5,000 views a day and 22 subscribers a day. I mean, right now their numbers are way bigger than that, but if you go back to their inception, that's how low things were when they started. Everything starts small and you build your audience and you build up. Now, if you look at maybe Picks and Parlays, they average in their lifetime 4,000 views a day and 10 subscribers a day. So these are modest, normal numbers. And then you look at Pick Dogs, 12,500 viewers a day, 70 subscribers a day. You know, so 7 times the size of where Wager Talk and Picks and Parlays started. We're off to a great start. We're only going bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
So
it's good news, good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, I think we fell outside of that algorithm, what YouTube sees as normal. And what they do is, you know, they're a privately held company, so that it's their rules. So they can do whatever they want. And their rules is always guilty before proven innocent. And it's okay. I get it. You know, it's to protect us. You know, it's the reason why they do it, because there's so many dishonest people out there, so many scumbags, so many scammers, so many people that you give anybody a system. There's a bunch of people out there that think, you know, the first time they see something, it's like, how can we cheat this system?
Right.
So, people have bots that they have, adding up subscribers, thumbs up, views, all of these things to try and artificially inflate their numbers, because that's how YouTube decides, what's going to be in the suggested videos. When you go to other videos, who's going to be at the top of the search. It's the ones that are the most popular, the ones that get the most thumbs up, the ones that get the most subscriptions. That's why I'm always like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, right? And that's why I always say that. And it's, we just went way outside of the box. And I've done this before with other Google systems, with other things that they do outside of their search. And it's just, when it falls so far outside the norm, they shoot first and ask questions later. Now, a credit to YouTube and to Google, companies that I love. I love these guys. These aren't like some of the other companies out there that you're kind of like, they're gigantic, we don't have any choice, we're kind of screwed. And yeah, I mean, that is kind of the case with these guys too. But, these are the good guys. Trust me on this one. They got us back up in about 6 or 7 hours. And dealing with a company that probably has, as far as, how many times do you use Google a day?
Yeah.
Just the search. How many times do you use YouTube a day? I know anytime I can't do anything, I go on YouTube. My favorite example that I tell people, it's like, how do you get popular on YouTube? How do you ever? I say, you provide content that people want to watch, right? And so it's like, I always use this example. I got super glue on my fingers, right? It says on the tube, do not get on your finger, right? Everybody. I don't know anyone that's ever used super glue and not gotten it on their fingers, right? So I Google, how do I get super glue off my fingers, right? And this is how we do things. And I go on YouTube, I watch a video, they show me how to do it. 2 minutes later, I got no super glue on my fingers, and it was like something so obvious, And I look at the video, and 7 million people have watched this. So this is, this is how it's done. This is exactly how it's done. So, I think it's a pretty good credit to them that they got it done. It didn't take them 2 days. It didn't take them a week. It didn't take them 3 weeks. We'll get back to you. They did it in a few hours, which is amazing. So we appreciate that. But Sam was waiting for Carrie to come home. He waits by the door because he thinks she's going to give him a treat. No, he wants to go to the. Actually, it's his beach time. Look at him. He's running. He's like, I want to go to the beach. He is ready to go. He is wired. Who's going to the beach? Who's going? Who's going? Who's the beach dog? Sam is. He loves the beach.
Awesome.
You could hear him in the background crying. But anyways, we're just going to get into the college football bowl season. We're just going to rip off the games starting from this Friday's games all the way through to the Christmas Eve game right here. Well, it's not here in Maui. It's in Hawaii. It's over in Oahu. And then next Thursday, the first game is at 4 o'clock Eastern. So next Thursday, the day after Christmas, probably do an early show. I don't know what Steve's schedule is. We'll figure it out.
I will make myself available.
Yeah, maybe we could just have you chime in on the early shows and for 5 minutes or something, and just we'll figure it out as we go. Always fresh content, always the best content. But let's go to this first game. Buffalo up against Charlotte. Buffalo's 6.5-point favorites. Charlotte, it went from 5.5 to 6.5. The total has dropped from 58 down to 51.5. And this is the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl. So it's not Makers Mark, it's Makers Wanted. It's two different companies. They're not
very distinct
different product. It's a different product, but it's still the Bahamas Bowl. Charlotte against Buffalo. Buffalo has not been great away from home this season, and Charlotte is Charlotte. When we look at the schedule, Buffalo has won 5 of their last 6 games.
Yep.
The last win was over Bowling Green. They beat Toledo pretty good. Lost to Kent State. Went over Eastern Michigan 43-14. Central Mich 43-20. Akron 21-0. One thing we know about this Charlotte, right, they play in these high-scoring, wacky games, right? This is a team that you don't see much, but they always end up like on the highlights of ESPN, that top 10, weird bounce, right? It's always Charlotte. Old Dominion, 38-22. Marshall, 24-13. I mean, they were 6.5-point dogs in that one. Outright win. UTEP, 28-21. See, there's a game that you would think that they would have blown UTEP out of the water. Meanwhile, Middle Tennessee, 34-20. They were a 3.5-point dog in that one, and then a 4-point dog against North Texas. This is a team that wins outright as a dog often. Lost at Western Kentucky, lost at FIU, lost at Florida Atlantic. They dropped one to Clemson, and 52-17 over UMass. So, they're on a hot streak right now. Both these teams have been pretty hot recently.
Yeah, both of them are scoring a ton of points, so it definitely love the over here, no doubt.
Yep.
Buffalo especially has been laying 40 plus, multiple games this year, and he just reeled off the Charlotte numbers as well. But I think I like Buffalo by a touchdown. It's, and I definitely love the over here, so I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Both these teams have really good offenses, and the Buffalo defense allows about 100 yards less per game than Charlotte does. Buffalo's defense is actually ranked 6th in the nation, if you can believe that.
Yeah,
Pretty good stuff. But they run the football really well. They can't throw the football too well. Meanwhile, Charlotte, their pass defense is really strong. Their rush defense is suspect. So Buffalo's going to have to get it done on the ground. I just think teams that get it done on the ground, I don't know. I'll take Charlotte. I know it's not going to be a popular pick. It's a coin flip, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are tough games. There's a reason why they don't have the confidence pool for these pre-Christmas games in most confidence pools, right? I mean, these games are hard. Utah State up against Kent State. Utah State, I thought, was really disappointing this season. I thought they were going to be 10-2 type team. Meanwhile, Kent State getting 6.5. I don't know. These are the games where you really don't have to worry about guys sitting out because they're going to the NFL draft and things like that. You don't see it, but we have a big suspension here, possible suspensions on Utah State. So that is why the line has been a little slow to come out. This is the Frisco Bowl, and funny story. When I first moved to Maui, I was at a place called Coconuts Fish, and they have like these great fish tacos and stuff there, and really the best fish tacos that I've ever had. They put mango on them, but it's so good. But it's a great taco.
Harry, don't get me 3 fish tacos.
It's a really good taco. And but anyways, I sit there and there's a guy wearing a North Dakota State hat. The guy was probably about 90 years old. Him and his wife sitting there, and he says to me, "I'm like, wow, North Dakota State, another good team this year." And he's like, "Yeah, if I would have known, I would have gone to Frisco, this year." And it's like, I was thinking to myself, wow, man, yeah, San Francisco, that'd be pretty cool, but it's actually Frisco, Texas, right? It's like, it's not the same thing. It just shows I don't follow it. But this is the Frisco Bowl and the Golden Flashes of Kent State, taking on Utah State. And generally what I see in these type of games, this is kind of like my Potato Bowl, which is the one that I use always as the example, where it's always some gigantic physical team against some smaller team. And that's what we have here in this one. The issue is if Love isn't playing, then that's a problem. But I think that the bigger problem here is that Kent State's defense doesn't create the takeaways, and that's what they would need to do to win a game like this. And they got 6 takeaways this season. That's a half per game. That's a half a takeaway.
That's New York Jets stuff.
Yeah, it was bad. It's like when you see that stat, they have not had an interception in 6 years. It's like they have the prop bet in Vegas. Who will have the interception first? Kent State or Eli Apple?
Yeah, right.
Eli Apple looks to be headed towards the bench. Janoris Jenkins coming to town.
Yeah, you can better believe. I think Eli will be relegated to the bench. Jack Rabbit's going to slide right in there.
He might be the healthy scratch, when it comes to the playoffs.
Could be. But back to Utah State and Kent State, I think even with the maybe pending suspensions, again, they've been a disappointment, Utah State, but I think they're the better team here. Bit bigger, faster, stronger type of thing. I think it probably translates to a victory for Utah State here. So I'm going to go with them.
Kent State finished the season fast, and that's always a good sign. But they have that win over Buffalo that we just talked about. They beat Eastern Michigan, Ball State, 3 pretty good teams there. Losses to Toledo, Miami of Ohio, and Ohio U. But to me, it's the teams, it's the games. It's almost like starting the season over again. Both these teams played a heavy hitter in the early season. They both drew SEC teams out there. And Kent State threw in Wisconsin at Wisconsin for no good reason.
Money only. It's all about money.
I remember us talking about that game, and it went exactly how we thought it was going to go. I've been to those Wisconsin games where that starts happening, where they start running downhill on you, and it's like you got no chance. 48-0 at
Camp Randall.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they played at Auburn also and lost 55-16. But Utah State, that LSU game, getting 27.5, that was one of my worst picks of the season. Gave the Aggies the fighting chance. I don't know. I kind of like the way that Utah State played at the beginning of the season. I like the way they played at the end of the season. I think maybe they regroup here. I think that they're bigger on the line, and I think that's what makes the difference here. I'll take Utah State. I'll lay the points.
Yep.
This will probably be. I haven't done any videos on any of the bowl games, and I haven't even done my videos for NFL this weekend at all either. Kind of waiting. It seems that most people don't care about getting them up too early, so that's why I've been waiting. So, both these games, this might be the only place that I give out, these type of picks. The other, on the videos, I might be giving out totals on some of these. We moved to Saturday. We got a great slate of games, and who doesn't love the New Mexico Bowl?
Oh, come on!
It's about as American as it gets.
Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, New Mexico Bowl.
I love the New Mexico Bowl. The New Mexico Bowl seems to always have that exciting finish. It seems to always be very, very close, and then the exciting finish. The Chippewas are here. They're visiting playing San Diego State. San Diego State, you would have thought by looking at our Facebook group that this team didn't cover a point spread all season and that, they were 1-11. It's kind of like the way they talk about Kentucky basketball. Just really brutal. It's like they've lost one game this season. I know it was Evansville. Still, one loss.
I know. They haven't lost since.
They haven't. They're loaded. They're only going to get better.
Absolutely.
But Central Mich, 8-5 on the season, 2-4 on the road, 3-3 against the spread, 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. San Diego State, 9-3 straight up, 7-5 against the number.
I like the Aztecs here. Actually, I think the spread that it's 3.5. I just think San Diego State, better team. I bet on the Chippewas a couple times this year. They burned me. They had a big win, their last time out. That being said, I just think San Diego State is the better team. I'm going to go with them.
I think it's going to be a closer game than most people think it's going to be, but I still don't think it's going to be close enough that it falls within the number. I think the Central Michigan defense is tough, and I think they will slow down San Diego State. But the issue that I have here is that, San Diego State doesn't turn the ball over a lot, and Central Michigan turns the ball over a ton, an absolute ton. And, off the break, guys are rusty again. It's kind of the jitters all over again. And that's why you look at the beginning of the season. And, Central Michigan, 15 lost turnovers. That doesn't get it done. And meanwhile, San Diego State, they've lost 2 turnovers all season. So I think a lot of it, you look offense, defense, special teams, but turnovers. You can't in a bowl game. You can't overcome 2 or 3 turnovers. You just can't. It does.
Nope. Right.
If you turn the ball over 3 times in a game, you're going to lose. Almost, I'd say 90% of the time.
Yep.
And I don't see how Central Michigan doesn't. I think they're going to go over the top on them. I think that's their best chance. They definitely can get the ball going. I mean, Central Michigan offense averages 450 yards a game. Their defense only allows 350, and San Diego State offense only averages 330. But that just means they played on some short fields because they're 15th in the nation in takeaways against 130th in the country. That's last. That's the worst at turning it over. Is Central Mich. I love the Chips, but not today.
Yep.
Who's the guy on the Cowboys? The backup quarterback.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush got some quality, got some minutes in that Rams game, representing the Chips.
Yeah.
In that one. He's also one of the great. Preseason players.
Yes, he excels in the preseason.
He is. He's hey, the way I say, you throw 2 or 3 points on one side or the other, put $5 on one team or the next, same as watching the Super Bowl. Have a pizza, whatever, favorite beverage.
Yeah.
Might as well be the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, we've got teams that we just automatically fade, and you don't see we don't get a lot of those in bowl season. It's like, where's Andrew Kashner when you need him? It's like, where the hell's Kashner?
Kashner!
It's like, that was the best. It was like a dream come true. It's like, what's your dream? It's like, Andrew Kashner gets traded to the most public played team in baseball. It's like, Kashner traded to Red Sox. It's like, oh my God. It's like, it was Christmas Day. It's like, I get on here, I get up and live show, I'm drooling. It's like, people are like, what's the matter? What is up? It's like, Kashner was traded to the Red Sox. It's like, he's like a minus 165 favorite his first time out. Gives up like 7 runs in 2 innings. It's like, you mean he gets to pitch in Fenway Park a lot more?
Wow, yeah.
This is great.
Boy, that's conducive to Kashner's pitching ability.
It was a dream come true. Kashner. It's like...
Yep. He's your new whipping boy, huh?
Oh, God, we've been whipping on Kashner. Whatever team he's been on. We've been on Texas, Baltimore.
Red Sox now.
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll be somewhere else. Believe me, we'll get some value betting against.
He's got another 3 or 4 stops in him, I'm sure.
At least. He's not an Edwin Jackson material, but he's going to be up there. And I think
it's a standard bearer, that's for sure.
But this is what will happen. What will happen to him is the same thing that happened to Drew Pomerantz, who was another one of our guys. Is that eventually he goes to a team like the A's where he becomes a serviceable player, and it's like it's like you can't bet on him, but you just can't bet against him anymore. And then then he gets traded somewhere else, and you could then we're right back to where we started again. It's like Pomerantz punched the refrigerator. You bastard! It's like, I had 7 bets lined up for the next 7 starts to bet against you.
Damn you, Pomerantz!
It's like, I mean, Drew Pomerantz going to the Red Sox is like another dream. It's like, these are just dream things that happen. It's just, you can only just, every night before you go to bed, you just pray that something like that's going to happen. It's like, maybe Kashner goes to the Cubs, Huh? I mean, it's...
Maybe.
Oh, man, it's like when... who was the Cubs reliever that they had? He was... Oh, man, this guy could not get anybody out. He was just walked everybody. Finally, they got rid of him. But he was fantastic. It was like, I'd be like texting my friends who are Cub fans. I hear Jim Johnson is still available, Georgia Southern up against Liberty. Liberty, came from nowhere, and here they are. 7-5, but I think some of these wins, we'll go back over the schedule, came against teams that don't count in my book. Georgia Southern, 4-point favorites. The big win for Georgia Southern, of course, was the App State game. They demolished them.
Yeah.
One of the best rushing teams in the nation against. Well, you have one of the worst. You have one of the best passing teams in the nation, Liberty, up against one of the worst pass defenses in Georgia Southern, and then you have one of the best rushing teams in Georgia Southern against one of the worst rush defenses in Liberty. So the totals, automatically gets close to is in the 60 range. It just. I don't need to be an odds maker to figure this one out. No one can stop anyone.
Yeah.
But Georgia Southern, not a bad team, and neither is Liberty. But when we look at Liberty, wins over New Mexico State.
Liberty score against Rutgers.
Yeah, the thing here about Liberty, though, they do have the win over Buffalo, but their other win, Hampton, New Mexico State, Maine, UMass, and New Mexico State again.
Right.
Okay. So that's not good.
No.
These are not good teams. The losses. They played BYU tough. Virginia, Rutgers lost by 10, laying 7.5 in that one.
Yep.
I'm not really sure. Georgia Southern. Win over Georgia State, lost to Arkansas State by 5. Win over ULM, lost to Troy, wins over App State, New Mexico State. So there's the common opponent. New Mexico State has lost 3 times to these two teams combined. Coastal Carolina, another bowl team there, win in that one in overtime. Did not cover. South Alabama, losses to Lafayette, and they got flecked 35-32, so they played the Flexer tough.
They did.
I kind of like Georgia Southern here.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I watched Liberty play Rutgers, whenever that was, well over a month ago, and they held their own actually for, 3.5 quarters at least. But I just think Georgia Southern, with that common opponent and their schedule that they played. I'll take Georgia Southern here, 4 points. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, because you got the 8th ranked rushing offense against the 100th ranked rushing defense, and then you have the 21st passing offense against the 91st passing defense. But really, the 91st passing defense, they allow 240 yards a game passing. It's like
that's okay.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
I like Georgia Southern here. I don't like that Maine and Hampton on the schedule.
Yeah, I agree.
This might be a best bet.
Yep.
Keep rolling right along. Those of you joining us late, this is our college football preview show. We're just going through all the games between now and Christmas Day. Yeah, those of you with basketball questions or whatever, we did a show this morning with basketball, and also I have videos on all those games on our YouTube channel. Got Florida Atlantic, the Owls. These are the defending, they won their conference, and if you win that conference, you get your choice of bowl games. So for some reason, they picked the one that's right in their yard. The school's in Boca, and they're in the Boca Bowl. Cheribundi, I don't even know what that company does, but they've sponsored this game for a while. SMU was really good this season. They have the 2 losses.
Yep.
We saw the quarterback play was really good. He was the transfer from Texas that came over.
Yep.
By the way, today National Signing Day for early signing. It's like, man, they just keep moving it up and moving it up and moving it up. I don't know.
And plus, they said they've had the most signees. I think this early there's like over 500 power players that have signed already. So that's
Miami was okay. They weren't like Georgia and Ohio State and Clemson. They weren't quite in that mix. But if you look at the ESPN top 300 for what that's worth, they got 8 of them, and that's not bad.
Not.
For Manny's second recruiting class, they lost a few battles. They won a few. And they, the team that I didn't see in there was Florida State, and that's a problem. It's because the late coaching change.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
And I didn't see a lot of Florida in there either that I'm used to. Usually a lot more Florida, and usually a lot more Alabama. But it was Clemson, Georgia, Texas was up there a lot.
Yep.
Ohio State.
Yep. Emmitt Smith's son signed with Stanford.
Yep. A little bit of a surprise for me. I would think that he would have gone to Florida. But obviously he's got other things in mind. One thing I always appreciate about Stanford is that they work with the kids' college counselors to make sure that they can academically get in. That's pretty.
And stay in.
Yeah, it's there still is the scholar athlete part of it.
Yeah.
For 95% of these kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, FIU against Arkansas State. Butch Davis. Well, anyways, we didn't pick them this game. I like SMU on the coaching change. I know Lane Kiffin will still be involved and all that stuff. I just think the line's 3. It probably is right around 3. It is a home game for FAU, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
but they didn't stack up well against the really good teams.
Yeah, I like SMU here, even though it's really a home game for FAU. And really, I think it's about the coaching change. Kiffin, obviously, his influence is still there, his offense. But I just think SMU, they've had a really good year. Like you said, they've only had 2 losses, played each, week, very tough. I think SMU is trending up and should make noise next year. But I think I like them in the points here with 3 points.
Oh, no.
What we got?
My wife just sent me a picture of film from the beach, and Sam is into it with a pig down there. Oh, God.
Pig fight?
No, it's not a fight.
A lot of noise. A lot of yelling.
I mean, the pig surfs. I've seen him out there before, Lillicoy. He's not bad. He's a pretty good surfer, but to me, it's like I'd probably started as a little pig or something, and then he grew into this giant surfing pig. Like I said, he's not bad. He can hold his own out there on the board. He surfs a lot better than some of the tourists that I see.
He's bigger than Arnold the Pink from Green Acres?
He's a little smaller. He's probably about a good 100 pounds, though.
Huh?
But he definitely he rides that green board that he's right there next to. I've seen him out there.
Come on, Pulp Fiction. I don't eat no swine.
Lillicoy the surfing pig, I'm sure would... I'm not sure what he would taste like.
Right.
But anyways, we got Arkansas State here up against FIU. FIU's won their last 2 games to end the season. They had that win over Miami, which was really, I don't know. Bad news for the Canes.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, it was. I think the strategy is a rule changer, but I don't know. Arkansas State just didn't seem like the same Arkansas State team that we've seen in the past. They did beat Georgia Southern. They did beat Coastal, 2 bowl teams that we've talked about already on this show. Win over ULM.
Right.
Texas State lost to ULL, lost to Georgia State, win at Troy, win at Southern Illinois, and of course that game at Georgia.
Georgia.
Yep, 55-0. That was like the Cancer Day game, like Georgia, like they did all cancer celebration for Arkansas State, and then whipped their ass 55-0. I don't know. This is a coin flip game for me. I'm gonna take FIU. They're getting points here.
Yeah, I'm going FIU. If FIU can beat Miami, I think they can beat Arkansas State.
I think so too.
You got a good one next game coming up, Boise State and the Huskies of Washington. You got a little 6 degrees of Chris Peterson involved in this.
We got the Huskies and Boise. Chris Peterson, of course, steps down as Washington head coach. Really disappointing season for the Huskies this year. Really, really disappointing.
Yep.
A lot of people had them in the playoff up against Boise, who I don't know. They never seem to surprise.
They had another good year, Boise.
Yeah.
Under the radar. All they do is show up and play football,
but I think the expectation was to run the table. It's like the loss was, they had the win at Florida State, the big, comeback early in the season, and if you're Boise, you got to beat BYU. You got to beat them. You're 7-point favorite. It wasn't a great BYU team, but they didn't get it done. And one thing we also know about Boise is they're a lousy cover team. Lousy.
Yeah.
But Jacob Eason on the other side has been a lousy cover quarterback, and I don't know, man, he throws the ball way too hard, just way too hard. Kind of, who used to do that was John Elway, right? Early in his career, it's not that uncommon, that the guys with the cannon arms like that. Michael Vick used to do it early in his career when he was Mike Vick.
Mike Vick.
Yes, before he became Michael Vick. He was Mike Vick.
That's right.
He threw a laser. Still, I believe that Michael Vick or Mike Vick probably still maybe one of the strongest arms we've ever seen in the NFL as far as throwing a pure distance.
Yeah, I agree. He was
70, 80 yards type guy.
Yeah.
Easily.
Come on, Jamarcus Russell's probably got the biggest cannon of all time. I would throw Doug Williams up there as far as distance too, all timer.
Yeah, same thing though. Same thing.
Right.
When Doug Williams was with Tampa Bay, I mean, how many tip balls were intercepted?
And broken fingers on his receivers, the whole thing.
Yep. So Washington's got some players out for this game. Some linemen, linebackers. Boise's got some other issues as well. But Bachmeier, is healthy at this point. You got to figure. But it's an interesting game. 3 points. We've seen the good, the bad, the ugly on both teams. Boise traditionally a very, very good bowl team. Really, because whenever Boise gets out of conference for these type of games, it's generally a chip on their shoulder. It's like we're not good enough, and it's like, that's why you never see them play Texas. Texas would never play them. It's like that would be a disaster. That's why it's like they interviewed them for the Big 12. It's like no one even showed up for the meeting. It's like they want no piece of these guys. And we talked about Utah State. They beat them 56-21. I like Boise in this one. I think they can take the Huskies. I think they have what it takes. When you starting to look around the NFL these days, you see a lot more Boise players every year after year after year. Cowboys have a few of them. Patriots, of course, their secondary's always been loaded with Boise guys.
Yeah, I got my Tyrone Crawford from Boise State.
They got the linebacker, right? What's his name?
Leighton Vander Esch,
yes.
too. Yeah, who had a great rookie year. Unfortunately, he's got a stinger. He's been out the last month or so. But yeah, slowly but surely. I think Orlando Scandrick back, 10 years ago was a Boise guy. Kellen Moore, Cowboys offensive coordinator, played quarterback there. So they have produced some talent. I think I got to go with Washington, even though the coaching change. I just think, as disappointing as they are, they're bigger, faster, stronger, and if they show up and play football, they should cover.
I like Boise in this one. They just seem to get up for these games, and we've seen Washington disappoint so many times. Got App State against UAB in the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. It just doesn't seem the same without ULL versus Southern Miss, because I think that those teams played in the New Orleans Bowl about 100 times. App State's just been a beast this season. I mean, you want to talk about, a team that's really risen to the occasion. I think App State, imagine if it was like App State against Boise to go to, an 18 playoff. like a playoff here in New Orleans or in Vegas, to go for a spot in an 8 or 16 team playoff, how much better college football would be. As Gonzaga is playing North Carolina tonight in college basketball because you got 68 teams that make the tournament, right? So those are the games you get, when you have that. Gonzaga taking on Arizona, and that's how you end up with those kind of matchups. But in college football, you just don't see it. But App State 12-1 on the season. I thought UAB was a little disappointing. 16.5 is such a big number for a bowl game. It's not even funny. It's just gigantic.
But I think it goes to the disparity in the teams. I'm going to take App State here. I have no problem with that. I don't think UAB is.
At this point, I'm taking App State. I might change my mind by Saturday.
No, I just think App State, like you said, 12-1. They're a good football team.
We can move to Monday night, where the Marshall Thundering Herd take on Central Florida in the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. 17.5 points here Marshall's getting against the Central Florida team that when they get going, but neither of these teams have done much in terms of covering the spread. Marshall seems to have been banged up all season long. Their defense has been pretty good, but that UCF offense, man, 536 yards a game. That is big. So we know what happens here with UCF is what happens with UCF is when they get up big, they just start to steamroll teams.
Hence the 17-point spread. So
yeah. Wimbush is out for this one for UCF.
Okay. I think it's a lot of points, especially with Marshall's defense. I can see Marshall keeping it somewhat close. So as of right now, I think I'll take Marshall and the points.
UCF did not cover a lot of the big numbers late in the season, losing to Tulsa, beating Tulane by 3 points. The Houston win, 44-29, didn't cover the 21.5.
Yeah. No.
So
I'll go with the Thundering Herd.
I think I'll take Marshall as well. They didn't win a lot of games at the end of the season, but they were favored in a lot of those games. So I'll take Marshall as well. And then we move on to, I believe, Christmas Eve, right here in Hawaii. You guys can read it and weep. It's beautiful here.
The Rainbow Warriors.
As we showed Lilicoid the Surfing Pig just a moment ago. I'd say we got Hawaii up against BYU, and I don't see a line on this game.
Yeah, I was looking too. I didn't see a line either.
But we could always update this on Sunday, or
Well, talk about it. Yeah.
Or just throw out an opinion here. I think BYU has a history of mowing teams over in these bowl games, but this Hawaii Bowl, it always seems to be high scoring, so probably the over for me.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely think the over here. As inconsistent as BYU has been, they're probably better than Hawaii. So I think I'll go with the Cougars, even though this is a home game for the Rainbow Warriors.
All right. Well, we'll recap, and then, of course, we'll be back next week to go over the second half, where most of the big games are, and of course, there's a lot of games actually next time. So
yeah,
we'll have to squeeze these in, we'll figure it out. We always do.
Yep.
But I like Charlotte. Steve took Buffalo. We both like Utah State, San Diego State, Georgia Southern, SMU, FIU. I like Boise. Steve likes Washington. We both like App State, Marshall, and the over in Hawaii, BYU. It's Mitch. It's Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me here as always.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time for whatever the hell we do.
You got it. Thanks for watching, everybody.